What is good, everybody? Welcome to another Joint Gold Standard Grant Cohn production. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera. He's Grant Cohn. Grant, we have breaking news on the show. I don't know if you're aware of this, but Ian Rappaport just tweeted something that totally shocked me. Apparently, Nick Bosa is not at the facility today. Rap sheet. With the first practice of game week upon us, 49ers star Nick Bosa is not in the building for meetings with his teammates, sources say. As his holdout stretches into the regular season, his status for week one is now in doubt as he seeks a blockbuster contract extension. Were you aware of this? Nick Bosa might not play?
I'm going to give my Pee Wee Herman reaction. Ah! Are you kidding me? I can't believe it. Like, welcome to the party, Ian. This has been going on for a while.
I mean, I can't
like that Pee Wee Herman impression. That was a good Pee Wee Herman impression.
That was pretty
If you're
good.
younger than 35, you don't know. You just don't.
Yeah, you got the look. If you had like the bow tie and the jacket, you could totally pull off a Pee Wee Herman Halloween costume.
That's a little edgy if people know what Pee Wee Herman did in that one.
True.
Theater. Sorry.
Kenyon Gims, changing gears quickly, says, Fernando, much love, Grant, keep dominating.
Thank you.
Getting love early. So that's where we are. We're going to talk Bosa today. We're going to talk captains today because I think the captains are going to be announced today. I made a huge deal last year out of the fact that Kyle Shanahan inexplicably took a captaincy away from Trey Lance. I am betting all the money in my pocket that Brock Purdy is going to be a captain. So we'll get to that, but we have to start with Bosa. Yesterday felt like the day to get this thing done. The team was off. Now it's the biggest practice of the week. He ain't there, and I don't think he's going to be there for week one, and I don't think he's going to be there for quite some time.
Yeah, it feels like the Niners really botched this. It feels like something happened. They keep bragging. You know, we don't negotiate through the media. Well, great. Something happened privately that made this go way sideways because you acted so confident, 49ers, so cavalier. We got this. Hey, you worried about? Nah. Nick Bosa is going to be here a long time. We budgeted for this. No problem. Not surprised at all that this is and he's not here. So either you lied to us, which I'm not saying you did, or you really misjudged the situation in a player you should know very well, especially considering his brother's in the league and his dad was in the league and they sort of have like a reputation. I think Rob and I could have told you that he wasn't going to do you any favors or give you any breaks, but the Niners are over there looking to squeeze out like as many nickels and quarters from Bosa as they can. It's strange.
So that's the thing that's weird about this. So 49ers have this habit of just getting themselves in situations that they have no business being in. It's like they're walking down the street and up ahead, there's a giant pile of crap. Huge. There's signs there. There are people saying and stopping them and saying, hey, watch out up ahead.
You can smell it.
Crap. You can smell it. Everything.
Yeah.
And not only do the 49ers still step in it, they jump in it with both feet, and while they're standing in it, they tell you, we had no idea that this could happen. We never expected this to be in a pile.
No. For 2 years, they say we're not standing in a pile of crap. For 2 years. And then eventually they'll be like, okay, well, we were, but it wasn't our intention, and now we're not anymore, so you got to give us a break.
They never, ever should have been here with this. It's absurd. Kwana says we don't negotiate with salary terrorists. Yeah, that's the 49ers. You know, they have this like policy of we don't do this and we have our rules and they got to get over that.
I think one thing they like to do also is like draw this out to the very end. We've seen that, right? They don't give you the extension right away where they could. There's no rule against it, but they want to bring this down. They want to bring it down to the deadline. Why? They think these players are going to get nervous about the idea of losing game checks and cave and sort of meet the Niners halfway. It's not going to work with Bosa. You're just, in the immortal words of Ice-T, you're just playing yourself. If you want to take it there and say, hey, you want to miss a game, Nick? Nick will say yes to prove my point. Like, go ahead and start 0-3 and see, and then come back to me and talk. Let's go.
What you talking about, Willis? Says Mike McDaniel in the Manicast commercial said, you guys are terrible evaluators. Shots at the Shanahans. He took enough shots at the Shanahans in that Play Callers podcast. I don't know that he needed to add any more in the commercial.
He was talking to the Mannings. I just watched it. But yeah, sure. But but I love Mike McDaniel. He's so good for the NFL. He talks. He's the anti-Belichick. He has a sense of humor. He talks. He's not trying to hide things. More coaches should be like Mike McDaniel with the press. Thank you, Mike.
Official B&A Music says, I feel like the only person concerned about McKivitz versus Watt. TJ hit Cam Newton so hard that he became a YouTuber.
Damn. Hey, being a YouTuber is way easier than being a football player. I would highly recommend all the players in the 49ers just quit, start a YouTube channel, make money the easy way. Man, why are you playing football? It's way too dangerous. You should all quit today. No, don't.
Yeah, that's right. Later, we'll handle it.
No, don't.
Much love to you too, Rob. Hopefully you can use this $5 to help sign Bosa. Please. This is the
GoFundMe.
This is the thing that's weird, though, Grant. And I guess it's not weird. I just didn't think it would happen with a player that's this good. The fans, I feel like, are starting to turn on Bosa. They're starting to blame Bosa. I'm seeing he's not that good. He's not worth it. He's never dominated a playoff game. It's amazing to me that even with somebody as good as Nick Bosa coming off a defensive player of the year season, fans are like, he's not a captain. He doesn't deserve it. He's not that good.
I mean, I'll say that because I'm the player hater of the year. Like, it just makes me happy to say stuff like that about people who got it all going for them. Because I don't like kicking people when they're down. That's no fun. Anyone could do that. I kick them when they're up. Bosa's up, so here I come. But I'm not a Niner fan. It's just how I enjoy my day. It's how I spend a Wednesday. Like, Niner fans, I know what you mean. On Twitter, you're starting to see it. But to me, the overwhelming reaction of fans and media is pro Bosa. There's some people. There's always going to be some like super duper organizational bootlicker fans, which is, comes with the territory of being a fan that's going to be on John Lynch's and Jed York's side. But I feel like 85% of people are like, yeah, the Niners are really blowing this, and Bosa deserves his money. He's the best player on the team, one of the best players in the league. I think that's the overwhelming sentiment here, with some people sort of embarrassing themselves, being like, and I'm egging them on. Yeah, talk that shit. Sorry, write it down, 704. Sorry, I'm done.
Just so people know, there were 14 bleeps in last week's episode with Grant.
I'm so sorry. There's going to be one to this week. One.
Yeah, we'll see. Way says, Grant, do this damn Darnold press conference look. That's also his look when he drops back in the pocket and his first read isn't open. We'll say that.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. It gets this startled look.
Maybe it's just me. Maybe, I feel like fans are reaching out to me, ripping on Bosa. He's not that good. He doesn't deserve it. He's injury prone, which is insane because other than the ACL year, he's missed one game in his 49ers career. I'm just surprised that a lot of people are blaming him, but maybe I'm getting a skewed view. You seem to think it's a skewed view.
Maybe it just surprises you so much that every time you see it, you're like, what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It could be.
It just blows your mind.
Albert Breer was writing about the situation. Steph Sanchez, shout out to you.
Shout out to Sports Illustrated. Great company. Shout out Albert Breer.
Breer says, if I had to guess, I'd bet it's not just the raw dollars. I think it's also the guarantees, the cash flow, the bonus structure, the timing, blah, 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 blah. All that stuff that's important to an agent.
I would guess that too.
Yeah, I agree. Both the 49ers and Bosa's side have been disciplined about keeping the details of the talks quiet. No, they haven't.
Cool.
Blah, blah.
Cool.
I think smart people on both sides get this done Friday or Saturday.
If they do this Friday when I'm in the airplane, that would be so unfair. But I agree. I kind of feel like Kyle Shanahan is sort of watching Parag and John and Jed fumble around, and I think he almost might be laughing, and knowing he's going to make a phone call and do their job for them on Friday night or Saturday night. And that doesn't mean that they're going to get a full Bosa week one. He might still be limited because he hasn't been in practice. But I just feel like Kyle's going to end this and he's letting everyone freak out, knowing he's going to make the phone call. He did this with Trent Williams. He let the Niners mess around until the 11th hour, and then they were really going to let him go to Kansas City. Trent called him. He called whoever on the Niners and was like, hey, here's how this is going to go. You're going to give Trent what he wants, and he's going to be my left tackle. End of story. And that's how the story ended. So I think that's probably going to happen either Friday, Saturday, maybe Monday or Tuesday. I just can't see Kyle Shanahan letting it happen. I don't know. I keep going back and forth on this. It comes down to Kyle. What's he going to do?
But if that's the case and Kyle can do that, right? Why not do it a week and a half ago or 2 weeks?
I know. I don't know. Maybe there's part of him. Look, let's get real cynical here, okay? Real cynical and conspiracy theoristy. Maybe he likes letting John Lynch twist in the wind. Maybe he likes this. a little bit. Maybe he wants more power. You know, he hired John because he had to hire John. He was 37 years old. They weren't just going to give the organization to him. John's taking some power. Maybe Kyle wants it back. Maybe Kyle would like to, you know, not have to do this anymore and just be him and Adam Peters, or just him. I don't know. Just a theory. But he's like, all right, John, do your best. Okay. All right. Another day. Still haven't done it. Do you need me to? Okay. Now I'm the general manager. Okay. I'll do it. But for the record, John, Jed, Denise, I did it. We gave him all off season. That's his job, right? You think he's really important. I did it though. Maybe I can do it. I'm 43 and 44. Maybe you can give me the organization. I mean, his dad ended up getting the entire Broncos organization after a while. I didn't need a ceremonial PR GM man. I'm just saying, maybe that's what's going on.
Well, I think Kyle wants, John is a ceremonial guy, but he wants John there to take the slings and arrows and meet the media. I think
Adam Peters could do that. Peters could do that.
True. But the idea is
he wants the least intrusive GM possible.
Yes. There are a lot of people that still think that John Lynch is like the GM and has power. No, he doesn't. Because when Kyle makes the Trent Williams call and it gets done, that tells you who has the real power in the organization. And it ain't John.
It does seem like they have different visions for the quarterback spot and they compete in ways. And of course, John can't really win, but it does seem like they're at odds sometimes where, you know, maybe Kyle's like, all right, man, like do it your way. Let's see how you do. Look. The Trey Lance thing came down. Who looked bad on that one? Kyle. His move. John was like, yeah, man, we take full responsibility. Like, he takes full responsibility. This is a John Lynch production, dude. And he's the one who said, I'd like him in 3 weeks before the start of the season. I'm really uncomfortable with how this is going out. We're really proud of getting these deals done with our players. Like, man, this is on John. And Kyle, when he's asked about it, he almost smirks like, yeah, man, I saw this coming. Like, what do you mean you saw this coming? You saw like, John messing this up? What do you mean?
He said, I don't get updates, right? That's what he said. Like, I don't.
Not my job. Not my job, okay? I'm a play caller / head coach. I don't do that. Let me know if I need to step in and do someone else's job, but then I'm going to need to pay a raise.
Keenan Gims. Sorry if I said your name wrong multiple times. I apologize for that. I don't blame Bosa for wanting the bag, but me personally, I'd want the shot at being a champion, so I'd take a lighter deal and a Fernando from Grant.
Fernando. Here's the thing about Bosa. He's entitled to ask for whatever he wants, but people are entitled to look at him differently. Okay, so you would tank the Niners season, bet against them, sit out, prove your point to get $35 million instead of $32 million. I don't think a lot of average people can relate to that. I'm sorry. Like $32 million is a lot of money. It's already record setting. So
I don't look at Bosa any differently. This guy's had 2 ACLs already on his knee. Why? This could be the last contract he ever signs for all he knows, right? If he gets another ACL injury or whatever, like who the hell knows?
This could also be his best chance to ever win a Super Bowl, though. And so what means the most to him? That bag. Fair enough. But that's football today. Like some of these upper echelon players are in it because it's how they can make the most money in life. It's because it's all about competition. I mean, that's an old school mentality that probably died before free agency started.
But like, that sounds cool. But you know what? Like after Bosa retires and everybody forgets about him and all the cheers go away,
YouTube
with whatever money he's earned.
YouTube. Nah, man. Transition, baby. Just come to me. I'll be there. You know, I'll explain how to do it. I'll be your consultant. No excuse to just say, "Oh, my career's done. No more." No, YouTube. Come on.
That would be the most boring YouTube show ever. By the way, I can't do
him and his brother, the Bosa cast. That would be comedy. I would watch it.
Josh Watt. I said when they signed Javon Hargrave that they would have to choose between Bosa and Aiyuk. 6 months later, has that reality set in, or are they still denying that reality? Is that what is holding this up? Can I just say, and I don't know if this is all Larry Kruger's fault, but I saw him saying it on 95.7 The Game, so I'm going to look directly into the camera and say very upset about that. Larry Kruger, your take on this is?
He's going to say insane. You always do that. Insane!
Your take on this is so wrong. The idea that, well, if Bosa costs you Aiyuk and Juice and Kittle, you can't do it. Yes, you can. A fullback, an aging tight end that's always hurt, and a wide receiver that in his best season ever can barely break 1,000 yards. Yes, you do that.
Can I just say something, though? I'm with you on this. But can I just say something, though? It's too late to trade Bosa and make your team better. You can't do that right now.
Yes.
Well, but I am a little nervous about Bosa's longevity. I know you can't say that out loud, but his brother's coming off a down year. TJ Watt's coming off a down year. JJ Watt's career kind of fell apart at 27. Like it's a very high impact position. And there's a lot of examples of players who maxed out their bodies admirably, hard workers, start to break down in their late 20s. I'm not saying Bosa will. I don't know. But he doesn't play quarterback. He's making quarterback money, and look at his brother. I'm a little nervous, and I can see why maybe someone in the Niners front office is a little hesitant. But if you were, that's a decision you make in March, and you trade him like you traded Buckner. That's what the Niners did with Buckner. They're like, you know what? He's not worth what he thinks he wants, and if we get rid of him, we could keep 4 or 5 players. Let's do that. You made that calculus in March. Now you're just like freaking Goodwill Hunting it at the chalkboard. Like, oh my God, look what we just figured out. Like, man, you should have done this. You should have known.
You could say that. I could also say Aaron Donald won his first of 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards at 26, and Bosa already has one at 25. So
that's true.
Look at it both ways.
I mean, it's not like every pass rusher falls apart at 27. I'm not trying to say that. Absolutely not. But damn, look at his brother, man. Like I think if you look at the structure of his brother's contract, Nick's is going to be quite similar. And I think the Chargers probably regret it to an extent. Like it's almost like fully guaranteed for the first 3 years. There's no incentive for Bosa to go out and do anything. And all of a sudden he's like not around. I don't know. Maybe Nick's wired totally different than Joey, but maybe not. I don't know.
Super chat says Bosa's traded. Who would make sense besides quarterbacks? I mean, there was I saw a rumor that the Jets were interested. They made a phone call. You can't trade Nick Bosa to Robert.
You want to give him Bosa and Aaron Rodgers and then let him win the Super Bowl before you? I mean, that's crazy. Like, yeah, you could have had both of those guys. Rodgers, solid.
Shout out to Spider-Man watching the show. I'm still amazed with all the gaffes and bad decisions this team has made that they're still contenders. Great at drafting late, but not early. If they drafted Parsons instead of Lance, guaranteed Super Bowl champs. Well, it certainly would make the Nick Bosa situation a lot more palatable if you had Micah Parsons on the other side instead of Drake Jackson. I'll say that.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. I feel like with this Lance thing and this Bosa debacle at the end of the year, Yorks could come down and be like, someone has to be fired for this. Like someone has to be demoted or something. And John could say like, well, Kyle threw away the first round picks on Trey Lance. And Kyle could be like, well, John can't even sign Nick Bosa. Like he wanted Solomon Thomas. I mean, the answer could be, let's just promote Adam Peters. He's the one making these picks late in the draft. Like maybe he should get more control. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's getting a lot of things wrong too. I don't know.
Keenan says, Rob, you got to put respect on Aiyuk's name. No, I don't. Like 49ers fans realize that we think Brandon Aiyuk is way better than he has ever shown. Everything about Brandon Aiyuk, all the love, is all hypothetical, okay? And even though he may be able to put up more yards somewhere else, I don't dispute that. Here, he puts up barely over 1,000 yards in his best season ever. You can draft other receivers that can have that same production. So, yeah, I'm not losing the most irreplaceable player the 49ers have in Nick Bosa because we want a Brandon Aiyuk, a wide receiver that can barely put up 1,000 yards. I'm sorry.
Oh, like, whoa. You got to be careful with your words there. He can put up more than 1,000 yards. He's in a situation where he's not featured and put in positions to put up more. If you let him go, he's going to have his best years elsewhere.
Well, who cares?
And you're not going to get any. Who cares? I do. I don't even root for this team. Brandon Aiyuk is Torrey Holt, in my opinion. He's Torrey Holt on. He is. He just can't be featured that way. He's running Wes Welker routes with a Torrey Holt skill set. It's not his fault. He's got a dinker and a dunker at quarterback. It's a system that's more suited to Debo's skill set than Aiyuk's. Man, let him go to Buffalo or Kansas City and see what happens. They'll get a great player on a discount. Good for them.
I'm not disputing that I think he could put up better numbers somewhere else, for sure. But here, he doesn't. So why am I going to pay that guy over Nick Bosa? Why am I going to keep him and let trade away Nick Bosa? That doesn't make any sense. That's just not a rational.
Well, I mean, he'll be cheaper than Nick Bosa, a whole lot cheaper than Nick Bosa. I think maybe good wide receivers are harder to find than good DNs. I mean, there's a lot of good DNs out there.
No way.
There are.
Look at the wide receiver classes. They're like running backs now. You could pluck them out of anywhere.
Okay, maybe. Cheaper. And I think you could argue he has a longer prime. I mean, again, he hasn't torn his ACL, Brandon Aiyuk. Like he hasn't. Nick Bosa's had 3 season-ending injuries, one in pros, one in college, one in high school. Like Aiyuk hasn't had that. I think his best days are ahead of him. Are Bosa's? Maybe. But can't say that with confidence.
Bosa impacts the game way more than Brandon Aiyuk. Way more. No defensive coordinators up late at night worried about what Brandon Ayuk's going to do. Every single.
I would say they are. But they can feel confident that the Niners aren't going to feature him the way that he could be because they want to run the ball and throw it to Debo, and their quarterback can't get the ball down the field consistently. So that's good. But if you put him on another team, he could be a number one wide receiver getting 1,400 yards and 10 touchdowns. He could be Stephon Diggs if you gave him that. He could be Justin Jefferson if you put him in that offense and gave him that role. I feel very confident about that. He just can't do that here. Here he's running. He's Wes Welker here. Hey, line up like right next to the left tackle and then run a freaking shallow cross. It's like, oh, okay, like I'll do it, but can I run a corner route? You can run it, but it's basically going to be a clear out route on this team. You're like, go ahead. It's too bad, but that's what he's Torrey Holt to me in the wrong offense. He needs to leave. In that sense, he needs to leave. And maybe the Niners look at it like, look, great player, but like our offense is just not really tailored to him. We thought we were going in a different direction. Let's let him go. I don't know.
I feel like you're making my point for me. You're right. Not that guy here. So I'm not.
It's not that guy.
Like that to me is wild that 49er fans would rather have Aiyuk than Bosa. Again, it's not.
I'd rather have Aiyuk than Kittle. Like Kittle's gonna be 30.
I agree.
So I'd rather have Aiyuk than Debo. Like Debo's a little scary to me too. He's really great, but he's also 27, and a lot of what he does is like running back type stuff. And how good is he gonna be at that at 28, 29? You know what I mean? I don't know. Is his best football ahead of him? Aiyuk's is Debo's? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about that. By the way, Aiyuk is not Torrey Holt. Torrey Holt's a Hall of Fame wide receiver. He's had 1,600-yard seasons.
He played with Kurt Warner. Yeah. If you put Aiyuk in that offense with Kurt Warner, he would put up numbers.
How do you know?
But look, we don't have to agree on this one. That's my evaluation. I feel like he is a high-end split end who could get down the field in an offense that's asking you to run slants and shallow crosses. Like, it's too bad for him. But it's great for Debo. Super great for Debo.
That's why I think Aiyuk would be better off leaving. Phil says,
yeah, I agree.
We lose week one without Bosa, and if Purdy gets hurt in week one, and we have to suffer through Sam Darnold and Brandon Allen, give me 2020 season vibes again. Don't even mention 2020. Can we not? Don't even like manifest that into existence.
Can we talk about that for a second, though? What's interesting about 2020 is I've seen a lot of people on Twitter being like, look, like 2020 is the reason the Niners have to, just capitulate and give Bosa whatever he wants because without him, they missed the playoffs. Yeah, but they also didn't have their starting quarterback. I mean, it was the Nick Mullins year. So they had a top 5 defense without Bosa. They gave up a lot of points, but they also turned the ball over a ton on offense because they had their backup quarterback in there. Like, you could argue that they have such a talented team, such a talented offense that they could win the division without Nick Bosa. Like, who's to say they couldn't? I don't know. Maybe they think they can.
I think the offense is going to have to
score a lot of points. They scored 35 points per game down the stretch last year. Like maybe they're feeling, hey, Nick, good luck. We can score. We can win.
Well, and the encouraging thing about that is like, even if defenses make it tougher and they regress a little bit, if the Niners put up 28, 29 points a game, that's going to be right at the top of the league. Usually the top scoring offense puts up around 30 points a game. So the Niners.
Don't you think they're expecting to? Like they like Brock Purdy. They have Christian McCaffrey. They're not missing anyone on offense. Kittle's hurt now, but he'll be back soon. I think they're expecting to score a lot of points. Maybe they're delusional. Maybe they're going to start out slow, but I think they're expecting to score a lot of points. And maybe they feel like, all right, Nick, you can learn the hard way about our new team. We'll see.
Josh Wyatt says, the point I'm making is that Bosa was going to be expensive. When they signed Hargrave, it cost Aiyuk, which is a terrible trade if presented that way. I would take Hargrave over Aiyuk also, assuming Hargrave can produce the way he did. I would take
he's like 5 years older than Aiyuk. I don't know. I'm a little uncomfortable about getting rid of such a player. Like, to me, this is like Buckner again. He's ascending. He's 25. His best years are going to come from 26 to 30, I think, from Aiyuk. Like he was, like you really want to let him go when you could keep him and he wouldn't even be that expensive. I'd rather get rid of Kittle. I'd rather get rid of Hargrave. Like I'd rather get someone 30 than someone who's 25 in it. But let's see what happens this year. Maybe Aiyuk falls off this year. Maybe he gets hurt. I don't know. Who knows? I wouldn't count on it, but we'll see.
I would definitely take Aiyuk over Kittle, 1,000%. I'm all set with George Kittle on this team. All set.
Yeah. Thanks for your contributions. You're great, man. Ring of Honor, all that stuff, but got to keep Aiyuk.
Yep. Alex T says, has anybody paid attention to Joe Burrow's contract extension talks? JB's in talks to be the highest paid player in the NFL, and guess who is his agent? Brian Arold. Unrelated, yet somehow related. Well, let me just tell you then, A-Rol's about to have a damn good year if he's got those two guys.
Yeah, but Burrow isn't like holding out. He's not going to miss week 1. And he's only been in the league 3 years. So this is going to drag out another year for him. Good for Brian Aiyuk for, playing hardball, but like Joe's going to be there for the Bengals. This is Nick and Chris Jones. 2 teams that are like supposed to be Super Bowl contenders have some real drama. Makes you wonder about either one of them. Chiefs and Niners.
But at least the Chiefs can say, look, we have Patrick Mahomes.
True.
We're willing to roll the dice and bet on it. We have Patrick Mahomes. The Niners have Brock Purdy. And that's not the same. And I don't mean that as
no, they wouldn't even be like, we have Christian McCaffrey. Like, cool, he's running back.
Right.
Yeah.
Keenan again. I'm not saying sign him over Bosa. However, he's a great receiver that's not getting to see his full potential. I agree with you. I just think we got to respect his name. I agree that Aiyuk could be better somewhere else. But here, he's not worth paying a large amount of money to because you can replace him. In San Francisco, with what they ask him to do and what they're capable of, he's not worth it. And he's especially not worth it if you think it has to potentially cost you Nick Bosa.
Let me say one thing, though, in defense of Aiyuk. I feel like his role is going to be a little bit different this year. I could be wrong. But just based on the way they were targeting him in preseason, training camp, I think one issue with Aiyuk the last few years is he hasn't really been the go-to guy in any situation. They'll call his number, but on 3rd and 8, is he the go-to guy? Not really. In the red zone, is he the go-to guy? Not really. I think you're going to see him become that guy this year because he was in training camp. And Brock trusts him and Kyle trusts him and he's better than he's ever been. So if he can deliver as the number 1 guy in lots of different situations, you might look at him differently, but I understand why people say he's not that guy. Like, when has he ever taken over a game? He's such a quintessential number 2 receiver. I think this year he might take another step, but he needs to do that. He needs to show it.
He was the go-to guy in the red zone for the 49ers last year, particularly because you can't cover him in man coverage. Official BNA
so
music.
Good.
He's official BNA music says replace Aiyuk with who? Dante Pettis? I don't know. Does anyone remember the Vikings replaced Stephon Diggs with Justin Jefferson? They traded Diggs and got better at wide receiver.
It's true. Like, you can get good wide receivers in the draft. You absolutely can. But don't get it wrong. Like, don't do we're trading Aiyuk for pick and we're spending it on a wide receiver and it's the Javon Kinlaw of wide receivers. Like, you tried that with Buckner. It doesn't always work out. You got to really get it right here. Got to get it right. Because who got picked before Justin Jefferson by the Eagles? Who was that guy's name? What was that guy's name? Jalen Reagor. They could have had Justin Jefferson, so don't get it wrong.
Well, yeah, you still have to make the right pick, of course.
And the Niners don't do that always in the first round. That's the problem. Like, Aiyuk is their best pick. Him and Bosa.
Yeah, I would agree. And they still haven't re-signed any first-round draft pick to a second contract in the Shanahan era. No,
that's crazy.
Isn't that wild?
It's wild. It's super wild. You're thinking, okay, well, they're definitely going to get Bosa signed. Yeah, probably eventually, but like, why is this so hard? It's so hard. Sorry. To say goodbye. Sorry.
If you're going to keep singing, I'm not doing this show anymore.
It's so hard. Sorry. I'm done.
You sound like a 14-year-old boy.
Yeah. Man, my voice used to crack so hard when I was 14. It was bad.
We can get back to Bosa in a second. Oh, G.I. Jones says trade Bosa for a whole O-line. Yeah.
I feel it, man. I feel it, man.
Before we get
I'm saying it's so much harder to find a good right tackle than a good edge rusher. That's how I feel. It's so hard to find a good right tackle. There's like 3 of them.
It's hard to
and one of them cheats. Lane Johnson.
One of them cheats. Kyle Shanahan's going to speak today. I'm going to be fascinated to see what he says about the contract situation. That's going to be interesting. But also, I think he's going to do something that the Niners did at this time last year, which is reveal the captains. And anybody that remembers what I said last year, I thought it was a huge deal. They didn't make Trey Lance a captain. I thought it was a sign that they were not all in on him. He was voted a captain. If the Niners had kept the same number of captains they had had in previous Shanahan years, he would have been a captain. Kyle inexplicably said we're going to have one less captain this year, and so Trey Lance was the odd man out. How much you want?
I think it was explicable. Is it not? I think he got more votes than Debo, and if it was a situation where it was going to be Trey instead of Debo, and I don't think Kyle wanted to do that because Debo goes to Cabo,
and he's that's
they're friends. Yes, you don't believe me? Ask Kyle.
How much do you want to bet Brock Purdy's a captain today when they announce it?
All the money. All the money.
All the money. He's going to
there's no question. It's like Kyle realizes, I don't know, something changed with Kyle because he's always playing this game where he's like, I'm not really into the quarterback that's my starter. Like, yeah, we're like going steady, but I'm not really into him. You know what I mean? Like, he can't do that anymore. And he said all the right stuff about Brock. He's the real deal. Got rid of Trey, got rid of Jimmy. And he's all in with Brock. Has to be. So, good. Like, it's about time that you said and did the right things and gave your quarterback. Brock doesn't need to be looking over his shoulder. If that's your guy, he doesn't need Trey here. He doesn't need anyone. You know, like, you didn't do that for Trey. You made Trey the starter and then Brock back Jimmy. You sabotaged him. No one does that. So finally, you're giving Brock the best chance to succeed. Good for you. Good for you.
I agree. Brock should be a captain. Your starting quarterback should always be a captain because they're a captain whether they have the C on their chest or
Empower
not.
him. Empower him.
It's the nature of the position. Keenan said, Grant and Rob for Bosa, easy trade, make it happen. If I could be in a package for Nick Bosa, that would be an honor. Let me just say that.
Which one of us has to play, though? I don't want to play. Let Rob play. He's stronger than me.
So I'll just play one snap, get murdered, and that'll be the end of you'll be coming in off the bench.
No! You got to stay in there, Rob. I don't want to play.
I think there would be a good amount of 49er fans that would pay good money to see us get absolutely just destroyed on a football field. We could raise a lot of money.
Absolutely. For charity. For a good cause.
So I think I think Brock will be a captain. I think McCaffrey is going to be a captain.
Yes.
Kittle will be a captain. Trent Williams will be a captain.
Ooh.
Do you think Bosa's a captain? He was.
No. Absolutely not. He's not even on the team. They're going to have to vote before he even gets signed. No. Not Bosa. It'll be what? It's always Armstead, Warner, Hufanga.
I don't know. If Bosa's not a captain, he was a captain last year. He was the guy on Saturdays that was giving the speeches to the team, right?
I don't think he's not a captain. Let it be Hufanga. Hufanga's actually there. He's actually a leader. Him, Warner, Armstead. Boom, boom, boom. Even Drake Greenlaw. Drake Greenlaw gets no love on this team. I don't understand. It's like he doesn't exist. He's so good. What's the deal? He's the tone setter on. Why not him? He's like 26. He's right in his prime. How about Trey Greenlaw?
I mean, there's a lot of candidates. Sure.
Been on the team 5 years. Like, good ass player. Sorry. That
one's okay.
Okay. Cool. Sweet. All right.
You're good with that. So yeah, I'm just, again, it's a thing with me because people called me crazy last year about the whole thing. So now I think it's going to be interesting, and I think they'll magically have one more captain than they did last year. And he'll never get asked about it. It'll never be a thing, but whatever.
I'm voting for Greenlaw. I feel like he's the new Jimmy Ward on this team. The guy that everyone knows is really good, but gets no promotion, no love, nothing. And everyone's like, oh yeah, it's Dre. Dre's good. But no. Like it should be said a little bit louder. Like he should be included right there with, I think Greenlaw's more important than Armstead. There's a hot take.
Yeah,
he's really good. Yeah.
Warner
So
said,
I'd like to see him. Yeah.
Fred Warner said, whatever you think of me, you should think that of Dre Greenlaw.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. He should be a Pro Bowler. He should be in the NFL top 100. He's never been a Pro Bowler. Come on, Niners, promote him a little bit. Make him a captain.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
He did sign he signed a contract too. Like that was a negotiation that was no trouble for the Niners. He signed a very team-friendly deal too.
He's an outside linebacker coming off an injury-plagued season. Like they had him and he was just, he took what he could get. But now that you got him on a freaking discount, make him a captain. Put some, money in his pocket. He might get an endorsement.
Summers Painting says, I'm sorry, it's Kenny Pickett's time. 49ers management is losing their respect league-wide. Purdy isn't who people think he is. I'm sorry, Steelers W. Let's get into the game a little bit, Grant. I said that Kenny Pickett's not keeping people up at night, but somebody in one of my chats said that's exactly what other teams are saying about Brock Purdy, and I think that's fair.
Yeah, it's true. I think both teams are saying, we're not going to let this quarterback beat us this week. I would think that's probably the first thing out of the defense. Look at Kenny Pickett and his gloves. Look at these little hands. We're not going to let these little hands beat us this week. You know how defensive coordinators are. Same thing with Brock. Look at this little guy. Look at this Howdy Doody looking. You're not going to let Howdy Doody beat us this week. Fair enough, man. Well, I think the interesting thing about Pickett is he's so much like Purdy. The Niners have faced Purdy all offseason, and they kind of kicked his butt. I mean, they intercepted him a lot of times. So I don't know. Like maybe they'll do just fine against Kenny Pickett, even without Nick Bosa. That'd be interesting.
So,
or maybe the Niners are totally like demoralized that Nick Bosa isn't here, and they start off so like they do anyway, and they go and play a really bad game in a tough road environment and lose and start off 0-1, and then they call up Nick Bosa the next day and they're like, "We're so sorry, Nick. You're the greatest. Please come back."
We saw how defenses played Jimmy Garoppolo. Everybody was within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage, it felt like, and they were saying, you can't beat us. We are not afraid of you. We're going to load up against the run, and if you beat us, you beat us. Do you think teams will play Brock Purdy that same way?
Yeah. I think teams are looking at Brock Purdy, and they know he's different than Jimmy, but they also see his passing chart. They say he wants to roll left. He wants to throw left. If he's throwing downfield, it's to the left. If he throws to the right, it's probably within 5-10 yards of the line of scrimmage. Like, that's all out there. And we'll see if he can sort of beat those 10. Like, everyone knows he's going to do that. Let's see if he can do something different. Otherwise, he's going to throw picks. That's what happened in training camp. They know where he's going. He has tendencies. You don't know those tendencies when you're a backup quarterback playing 4 or 5 games. Now it's like you're the quarterback for the 49ers. Everyone is studying what you do, and maybe they're overanalyzing your small sample size. You got to prove that.
That's the difficult part for Brock, is that the defense is going to be able to make that adjustment, and he doesn't even have a full 16 games of experience to draw on.
Or a full offseason to improve and change and grow.
Right. And he was like virtually not throwing at the offseason. So this is an uphill battle for sure. Do you think the Niners are going to be able to run against the Steelers? Because I have my doubts.
They have a really good run defense. Like, they gave up 7 rushing touchdowns last year, fewest in the league. That's why I feel like this is a tough matchup for the Niners. The Steelers can win in the trenches on both sides. Like, they can stop McCaffrey from running. They can really pressure Purdy. So this becomes one of those games where Kyle has to be at his best. A million different ways to get the ball out of Purdy's hands quickly. A million different jet sweeps and screens. Like, how do you get outside the tackles against this 3-4 that TJ Watt and Highsmith set in there? It's hard. So I don't know, like, are they going to score 30 in this game? Is Bosa's absence going to be no issue? I could see them scoring 20 and losing. I could definitely see that. Like, seems like one of the better defenses they faced. And when they faced a defense with a really good pass rush last year, even with Purdy and McCaffrey, they weren't scoring a ton of points. I'm thinking about the Dallas game.
That's the question for me, is how does Purdy react? Because he's going to get pressure. It's TJ Watt against Colton McKivitz. He's going to see pressure. So
yeah, that's like Hassan Reddick. And this is another one. This is a real road game, kind of like the Philly game, where it's going to be really loud and you're on a silent count and you're going against a good pass rush. Like, can you keep your quarterback healthy? Last time you tried to do that in Pennsylvania, you couldn't make it through the first drive. So let's see what, like, not just score enough to win, but put together a game plan that's safe and gets Brock Purdy to week 2. Please.
I saw a stat that made me think of you today, Grant. Brock Purdy was contacted on 19.4% of his dropbacks. That was 22nd in the NFL.
Interesting. So they did a good job of getting the ball out of his hands, and he does a good job of making people miss, but he also holds the ball a long time, and he also got hurt twice. So hopefully that number doesn't go up this year while he's trying to stay in the pocket and step up.
Purdy was 29th in the NFL in time before throwing 2.84 seconds. It's a long time. Now, some of that...
It is a long... Well, he has some plays where he held it for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That shouldn't happen in this game. They got to not do that in this game. It's got to be like the little pop passes, a lot of those to the guy coming across.
Hold on. Where's that comment? Here it is from Wedgie Antilles. I love that handle, by the way. Why do people think Purdy will not improve? And we have seen everything there's to see.
Let's talk about that. I think that's a straw man. No one thinks a 23-year-old player won't improve. The question is his improvement versus the improvement of the scouting report against him. They're in competition. So he can improve. He can read defenses better. He can get the ball out quicker, all that stuff. The scouting report can improve too. Which one's going to improve more? So if his numbers go down, he may have improved, but not as much as the scouting report, and the book's out on him. And like that happened to Jimmy. It happens to a lot of people. I think that's what people are thinking about.
That's a really good, I like that comparison, because I agree with you. Both of those things can and will happen. But with Purdy, it's like,
it's a race.
where is he going to improve? If you're telling me that the best thing he does is processing and getting the ball out, and getting the ball to the playmakers at the right time, he kind of did that. Can you get even better at that? I guess you can.
Yeah, degrees. Sure. Degrees, but I feel like the scouting report against Brock can take quantum leaps. Like no one knew who he was last year. They were preparing for essentially the Jimmy offense, and anytime this dude rolled left, they were like, "Oh my God, what is that?" Like everyone knows it's coming now. So I just want to know if he can change his game and change his tendencies and start beating the scouting report. Then you're looking at a guy who's a serious, really good professional athlete. Like those are guys who have sustained success over a decade. We don't know if Brock is that guy at all. We'll find out. He's had 8 games. A lot of players that played well for 8 games, especially on good teams.
1,000%. A lot of guys that played well for 16 games. So we still won't know. One thing I want to look at, drops back to pass. You get pressure, step up, get vertical in the pocket. Don't escape to the side. Get vertical and run for 3-5 yards and just get down. Like that's fine.
Yep. He's got to do that. Everyone's expecting you to spin out and back and to the left. Back and to the left, like the Zapruder film. Don't do that every time. Back to the left.
Keenan Gibbs, this will be a battle of the trenches. It usually is with the 49ers. I don't love with no Bosa and the offensive line in the shape that it's in. That's not a battle I'm sure the 49ers can win, especially in Pittsburgh.
I mean, if this is a game on like whose run defense is better, like, because I don't know about the Niners run defense right now. That being said, even if the Steelers win in the trenches, they got Najee Harris's slow self coming through I just feel like the Niners are going to light him up. If the offense is going to go through Najee or Kenny Pickett, man, you better not lose. I don't give a damn that Nick Bosa isn't there. Like Kenny Pickett and Najee, come on.
A lot of people in Pittsburgh are saying Kenny Pickett's making the big jump. A lot
of people in Santa Clara saying, bro, no, they're not.
Yeah. Clint Ross says, what do you think of the Niners trade Bosa to the Saints for Carr? Of course, some picks are other players as well. Carr's contract is less than Bosa wants. Why do we want Derek Carr? I don't want
Derek Carr. That's like bringing Jimmy back. No, thank you. You could do better than Derek Carr.
Yeah, no, I would much rather.
Let's see, could you get just for the sake of argument? Not that we would do it, but could you get Kirk Cousins right now?
Oh, yeah.
Today.
Are you serious?
Yeah, okay. So forget Derek Carr. Could you get Dak Prescott today?
Yes, I think you could.
Okay, so now we're talking. Now you're talking like a top 8 quarterback, top 10, top 8 quarterback. That's what we're talking here. And I don't even know if he'd want to do it. Like Dak to me is damaged goods. Ever since he broke that ankle, I don't know what he is anymore. Foot, whatever, leg.
Right away.
But
the Niners they looked into trading for Dak Prescott at one point. Kyle Shanahan's 49ers did. So
yeah.
Okay. For the record, like Bosa's not getting traded. There's no reason for them to trade him. They could franchise him. Like it's not like he's a free agent. Now, if he doesn't want to show up and skip he's going to play at least 6 games, right? Because you got to play 6 games for your contract to accrue. So he's going to play some this season. I don't think
if he sits out most of the year and the Niners don't make the playoffs, I just can't imagine how snarky I would get. I mean, it would just be, I would be insufferable. Like the Niners can't do this. Like they can't tee me up like this. It's too easy. Come on, have some self-respect.
You will be insufferable? Are you telling me you've been holding back all this whole time?
Fair. I'll take that. I just try to make it more obnoxious with a gold chain now. I'm like, yeah, now I'm embracing the heel turn now. Let's go.
There you go.
Just a schmuck
for the Niners. Even without Bosa, like I agree with you. You can't let Kenny Pickett beat you. Even if he looks better, like you're still supposed to have one of the best defenses in the league. I'd like to see the secondary actually, hold up their end of the bargain if they don't have this incredible pass rush in front of them. That's allowed.
I would agree. I mean, you got to stop Deontay Johnson and George Pickens, 2 really good wide receivers. You got Diamador Lenore and Charvarius Ward and 2 really good safeties. Like, I think you can figure it out, Steve. And no, you don't have Nick Bosa, but you got Javon Hargrave and Eric Armstead. Like, it's better than nothing. You can figure it out. No? I mean, look, I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners lost this game because, frankly, I don't have a lot of confidence in them in September. They're a team that starts slow, and I don't see anything from this offseason that makes me think they're going to not start slow. Like, I feel like here we go again. So, which I feel like I would pick the Steelers, but that's just a bad excuse to, like, they have every reason to win this game. I'm not confident in them, but they have every reason to pull off this. It's not even an upset. They're freaking favored. They're better than the Steelers.
So you mentioned Kyle's record. I'm trying to pull it up here. Shanahan in September is 9-10 in his career. He's 11-16 in October. So he has a losing record.
Yuck.
In the first 2 months of the season. In November, he's 11-9. December, 17-10. January, 4-1. So they clearly get better as they go along.
No
but you're
question.
right. Because I think Kyle's strength is, okay, here's what you're going to do against me. I know exactly how to beat that. But he doesn't know how teams are going to adjust to him until they actually do. And so he spends the first part of the season kind of figuring that out.
Yeah, he needs tape on the opponent. Once there's a lot of tape out there, I think he's a really good game planner. But early in the season, I don't know. But also early in the season, I feel like his teams just get out prepared. Like there's something about his training camp that seems light. I'm there. I mean, they go hard, but it's like for 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours. I know you were talking about Andy Reid. They go up to the limit, 2.5, 3 hours routinely. So I think we've heard that Kyle has grueling practices midweek during the season. They do pads once a week. I think as the year goes on, they get more prepared, but coming into week one, I don't know that their starters are in football shape. I don't know that Kyle's in the zone yet. They're vulnerable.
By the way, like and subscribe to both YouTube channels,
Please.
the Gold Standard YouTube channel and Grant Cohn's YouTube channel. Shout out to P&G for reminding people to remind them.
Shout out.
Kyle said something interesting on KMBR the other day because they asked him, how often do teams do stuff against you that they have never shown all year? And Kyle's answer, he said, it used to be easy. He literally said that. It used to be a lot easier because teams would just do what they always did against Kyle, and he knows how to break it. He said now they almost always do something that they've never done before because they know if they don't, Kyle will destroy them. And so it's really interesting.
Yeah, if Kyle knows what he's getting, he can figure it out. Him and his dad, and whatever his brain trust is on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, can figure it out. So that's why every team has to have a front, a coverage, something, a pressure package that they haven't shown yet that Kyle can't prepare for. Because what he has shown is that he's not necessarily the best at figuring out on the spot, on the sideline. He needs to plan this out midweek.
Well, I think that's like the next evolution of Kyle is like, how quickly can you do that? How quickly can you figure out, okay, here's what they're doing. Here's how we counter it. Because I agree. I think the days of him being able to just largely know what you're going to do, I think are over because he's been kicking everybody's butt for a long time. And it's
the word is he's going to out game plan you. So you got to surprise him. Got to.
It was the same thing that people used to do against the Patriots and Belichick. That's how the Eagles were successful in the Super Bowl because they just did stuff that they literally had never done all year. Summer's painting.
Yeah, smart.
The 49ers were better than the Steelers. You'll have to rephrase after week 5. Screenshot this, but the 49ers organization is weak internally right now. Steelers will shock this year and take the North. So
interesting.
I had a conversation with Damon Bruce yesterday, and I asked him a simple question, and we disagreed. Are the 49ers a well-run organization?
I tweeted the other day that the most dysfunctional good team I can remember. Like, are they a well-run organization? I'd have to say that their process is not good. And they've gotten lucky, which is all that really matters. I mean, if they've gotten Brock Purdy, they've had some good trades, but it just feels so unsustainable the way they do business. And it feels like it's catching up to them. And it feels like if they fall back this year, that there's going to be like hell to pay for it. So I don't know. They feel like a dysfunctional organization and people haven't really noticed because they don't take shots at each other publicly and they've been winning, but that's all temporary. I mean, it could all fall apart.
That's why it's like, the question is like, so it's hard to answer. And I think what I came up with was that the Niners on the field overcome the Niners off the field. Because I think some of their process is broken and they do crazy things, but they're so good on the field that they can compensate for that.
I feel like this was sort of the case with the Harbaugh regime too. Like they went to 3 straight NFC championship games, but it was pretty clear that Harbaugh and Balky were like not just not on the same page, but like almost or at odds. And that Jed York had let it happen and he was sort of on Balky's side and alienating the coach. Like that's sort of what this organization is. And now you got a much more clean cut John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, but there's been reports that they have strife too, and it's the same weak owner. So I think, this is not an A1 franchise. It used to be when they were lemonade stand winning Super Bowls, but now it's the Yorks, and they're so desperate to have, to just be liked that they're cool, sort of putting the deodorant on it and say, look, hey, we're good. We're good. They're not going to hold these guys up to a real standard, but if it gets out and they look bad, then they might make changes. Because that's what happened with the Harbaugh. Like, everyone started figuring out, like, okay, you pick Balky over Harbaugh. This is incompetent. They don't look incompetent just yet, but if they do, they'll make changes.
Oh man, I don't know how long this stretch can continue. I don't know how long you can continually overcome your bad decisions on the field, because it does catch up with you at some point. You set 3 first-round picks on fire. That does catch up with you. And
let's say they have a 2020 type season, right? In 2020, no one got fired. There were excuses. There were injuries. If you do that this year, no excuses, man. You lit 3 first-round picks on fire. You didn't have Nick Bosa for a while, maybe. Like, all your fault. No excuses. Gotta win. That's crazy. And that's not the position they've ever been on this team.
Well, because don't forget, 2020, they were coming off a Super Bowl season, and the problems in 2020 were seen as largely not their fault because of all the injuries.
Right.
Like you said, that's not the case this year. You're not coming off the Super Bowl. The Bosa situation was avoidable. You traded Trey Lance. Like, it's
all self-inflicted. Self-inflicted. So, and you're telling us it's no big deal. We expected this with Bosa. We don't need Trey Lance. Okay, be right. Be right. Otherwise, people are going to want to hold you accountable. People in your own organization, people that write your checks.
Randall says Christian McCaffrey won't allow the 49ers to start slow. It ain't happening. I mean, again,
running backs get hurt every day, B.
It's also possible this is a perfect example of the offensive game plan doesn't look good. They're getting crazy pass rush, but Purdy's able to just dump it off to McCaffrey, and he can make 3 guys miss and still help the Niners get down the field.
Let me just look this. I don't mean to be a downer, and I know he was great last year and he was durable and all of that. Christian McCaffrey is 27 years old, and in 2021, he played 7 games, and in 2020, he played 3. So last year, great. He's had some great years in the NFL, but the Niners, the number one thing they got to do this year after signing Bosa is keep McCaffrey healthy and not overuse him the way they did last year.
He never missed a game his first 3 seasons, and then he was out all the time after that.
So you don't know.
He was healthy. So
you don't know. Yeah. And 27 is the age for running backs where it's like kind of that's it. Like where if other players are, it's 30 for running backs, it's 27. So I'm not saying he's old, but this is it. This is the year. This might be his best year ever. Keep him healthy.
Yeah, I think you've got like 2 years of peak McCaffrey at most.
If you keep him healthy. Yes.
Okay. Have you given your official Niners prediction for the year, record-wise, yet?
10-7, and I think they could come in second in the division.
Ooh, 10-7. Well, I have it 12-5.
That's 5. That's fair. You could split the difference and say 11-6 is probably the most reasonable. I just something negative about this team, and I just want to. They have to travel a lot. They're getting off on the wrong foot. I think they're going to lose week 1. I don't know. I feel like Sam Darnold's going to have to start some games this year. I don't know how many games Bosa's going to play. I don't know when Jake Moody's coming back. Like, there's a lot of questions with this team. 12-5, maybe. I don't know. I don't feel comfortable with that. I wouldn't put actual money on that. I feel more comfortable betting lower.
What do you think the floor is? Because I think the floor is still like 9 wins. And if they win 9, they'll get to the playoffs.
Niners are kind of interesting. Like, I feel like they start off 3-4, and then they either go on a run or tank. So like, I don't know if they're 3-4 and Bosa hasn't come back yet and Darnold's playing, I could see it being real bad. 6-11, 7-10. But also if McCaffrey gets hurt, all bets are off. But no, I'm going to say 10-7. The floor could be a losing season where where a lot of people get fired. There's a lot of stake for this team.
Just get to the playoffs. Get me to the playoffs. Take my chances, because I know people like to bang on him, but Kyle Shanahan in the playoffs, man, he's really good. He's very good. Like, I don't care what seed they are. If they get to the playoffs, I give them a puncher's chance against anybody. Mahomes, anybody.
Yeah, and January is a great month for me when they're in the playoffs. So please.
Yes.
Come on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, the Super Bowl's in Vegas this year. Yes, please. Go to the Super Bowl. Come on. Please. I'll help. Quality control. I'll quality control you guys there. I got you.
So, okay, you're going to play defensive end for Bosa and you're going to quality control.
Yeah, I got this. Steve, call me up. We'll work this out.
God. Okay.
Come on. I'm not a Niners fan, but I'm a Niners helper this year. Let's get there together. Let's do this together. Me and you.
Make sure you like and subscribe to both YouTube channels, the Gold Standard YouTube channel, the Grant Cohn YouTube channel. Become a YouTube channel member. That's one of the best things you can do to support either channel. We always appreciate it. Grant, we're finally here, man. Start of the season. Let's go. I can't wait.
We worked so hard in the offseason trying to think of interesting topics to discuss. It's not easy. And now it's over. And now we can just talk about the games. We did it. We did it. Yeah, we did it. Hooray. Sorry. I just went Dora for a second. Do you watch Dora the Explorer just by yourself sometimes for fun? No.
No. Do you?
It's so satisfying because she always figures it out. And then Swiper comes in, but then they get it, Swiper. Like my little nephew used to watch it. And I'll be like, I'll hang out with him just to hang out with him. But really, I was like, I wonder what happens next on Dora the Explorer. She wants some crazy places, man. You can really live vicariously through her. I like it.
Swiper, no swiping. Come on, man.
Get out of here. All right. Here he is. I like Swiper. I want to be like Swiper. That's my secret. He's my favorite character. I always root for Swiper, but he never wins. Maybe next time.
That's the least surprising take you've had on the show today. I root for Swiper.
Thanks, bro. Come on, buddy. Next time.
I'll talk to you next week.